After 10 years working as a business mentor, I've identified a list of words that founders and young professionals absolutely hate. Now, one of these words is budget. And if you want to make a new entrepreneur sweat, just ask to see their financial plan or cost model. But today we're not talking about budgets. Today we're talking about a different word, one that millennials and Gen Zers in particular are intimidated by. Now, that word is networking. I produced this video in response to a young professional who struggles with the concept, and I'm pretty sure she's not alone. So if you identify with her, then I've got three simple tools that you can use that will change the way that you view networking and improve your chances of success. But first, why do we hate networking so much? I think there are a few reasons why we hate networking in general. First of all, most of us grew up with the internet and social media. And although it's painted as a way of connecting people, let's be honest, it's really about staying in touch with the people that we already know. Secondly, we're afraid of rejection. Networking is about putting yourself out there, and it carries the risk of your approach being ignored or even declined. These days, many people see rejection as a personal attack instead of what it really is, an everyday occurrence. The third reason that networking makes us insecure is that there's always likely to be someone who's more interesting, more charming, more intelligent. And if that's the case, why would anyone want to connect with us? We convince ourselves that we've got nothing interesting to say. And if we did actually say something, the people around us would think we're not very smart. The fourth reason is that actually sometimes networking can be quite cringe. When I think about the word networking, I imagine a room full of desperate people wearing those hello, my name is name tags. I've been to a lot of networking events and some of them are rough. People form these little circles, making small talk, trying to figure out if anyone in the circle is actually worth swapping details with. Then you've got the introvert on the outskirts who's quietly sipping their drink, hoping but not hoping that they get pulled into the conversation. That's usually me, by the way. So why do we do it? Taking all of that into account, it's any wonder why people bother networking at all. Well, the reason is simple. Networking works. If you have an idea or goal, the people around you are often the most important resource to help you achieve success. There are countless examples of the chance encounters that completely change somebody's trajectory. When he was coming up, Jamie Foxx let Ed Sheeran sleep on his sofa and perform at his clubs. J.K. Rowling received several rejections from publishers before being introduced to her agent, who managed to get her a deal with Bloomsbury. People passionate about networking and people who reluctantly do it all agree that meeting the right person could drastically change your life. So here are three tools that I want you to take away to help you become more successful at networking. Now, nothing I'm about to say is revolutionary, but I know that some of you need to hear this. So, tool number one, reach out to strangers like a 3-year-old. I've got a young daughter who's entering the toddler stage, and within about 10 minutes of taking her to baby sensory class, she's got her foot in another kid's mouth or she's laughing uncontrollably while being repeatedly pushed over by another child, thinking she's playing some violent game. Now, it'd be very weird if you went to a event and put your foot in another person's mouth. But the principle here is what I'd like you to take away. When we were 3 years old, making friends was easy. You'd walk over to a stranger that you've never met before and say something completely random like, I like Power Rangers, do you want to play? And that would be it. Friends for life. Now that we're adults, we overcomplicate it, mainly because we're scared of rejection. We think we need to craft the perfect introduction to start a conversation when sometimes it's as simple as, hello, what's your name? Good conversation starters for in-person networking events can be complimenting someone on what they're wearing, or asking someone how they're finding the event, or simply just being honest and saying how hard you find networking. If you're online, compliment a previous post. I really like the post that you shared on AI. Or you can make reference to a course or professional discipline that you have in common. Oh, I noticed you completed that program management course. Would you recommend it? As I said, the reason why we don't do this is often because we're nervous about the possibility of being rejected. And the truth is, if you're reaching out to a stranger, they might not respond. They might even flat out ask you not to contact them, which is very unlikely, by the way. But to that, I say, so what? When we were 3 years old, if a kid didn't want to play with us, we just find someone else to play with. And that's the same attitude that you need to take when networking. It's not that deep. There are so many interesting people out there, and it's a bad idea to place all of your hopes in one single interaction. Tool number two, focus less on being interesting and focus more on being interested. A young person asked me not long ago how she could present herself to people who had more experience than she did. My temptation was to reply, well, just be yourself, which is true, but is very unsatisfying. And for some personalities, it's actually probably not the best advice. So, a better answer is you should present yourself as someone who is curious and eager to learn. Building connection is about genuinely being interested in what a person does, what they think. So, ask questions about what you're genuinely interested in. I know the difference between someone who's really interested in understanding what I think and someone who's reciting some internal script. So take a moment to ask yourself, what do I really want to know about this person? Tool number three, have a clear and concise request. The main difference between a friendship and a professional relationship is that professional relationships are a lot more transactional. And most people know this. Founders or professionals with years under their belt will all credit some aspects of their success to the people who stepped in to offer them support. And they expect to do the same. So just lean into that and make sure that you are clear about what it is the person can do to help you. Also, get to the point. I often have people reach out to me trying to warm me up with small talk before asking me for help. And if you're doing this because you're actually curious, then great. But if you're doing this because you're trying to figure out what you want, then you're wasting both of our time. Try to go into a networking interaction with a plan. What is it that you actually want? This could take many forms. I'd really be grateful if you could introduce me to X. I'd love to pick your brain on how you achieved Y. It doesn't even need to be that structured. Sometimes it's as simple as, I'm struggling with A, B, and C. I wondered if you had any advice. All of these are valid, but the more specific you are, the more likely it is that you'll get somebody able to help you or point you in the direction of someone who can. Case in point, someone reached out to me because they were struggling with the concept of networking. And because I'm extra, I decided to make a whole video about it. So those are my three tools for getting more success from networking. One of the words that many professionals hate. And of course, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. But if you want some advice on a different word that professionals hate, budget, then check out this video on the B word.